Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. This is Gamgii, and in this channel we talk about everything that's relating to art and creativity. Today I'm really going to be thinking more about the guys who are beginning in art, especially digital art, and I want to introduce you Procreate for your digital art journey. I'm going to share with you this video which I call the intro to Procreate for beginners. So we can jump into the video right now and I'll see you on the other side. Let me give you an intro into this part. You have a chance to select the size of your art. So there are lots of sizes to choose from, but you can decide to make your own canvas. So you just click on this and then you have the chance to select. If you have a specific size which you had in mind, you can select what the size is, and then you should be mindful of the DPI, which is a dot per inch, and 300. I think this is reasonably fine, which you can use for any kind of art, especially if you would make prints or if you would actually have it on a t-shirt whatsoever. So it's important to mind the 300 DPI. It shouldn't be less than that. And the bigger the size of your document, the lower the number of layers you can have, the maximum number of layers you can have. So it's quite important. You should think about that. So it's worth noting all these profiles which you have for CMYK, RGB, and these are quite deeper stuff when you start really trying to make sure your colors fit and all that. But when you start Procreate, this shouldn't be your first interest. You should really get drawing. Just get your pen and get drawing. But I just wanted to show them to you. For time lapse, you have all of these settings. So depending on what kind of size you want, for example, if you want it to be 180p in quality, or you want it to be 2K, or you want it to be 4K. So especially if you're going to be posting on social media, when you make your time lapse, it should be the best quality. If possible, you make it a 4K. It just takes up more space on your iPad. And canvas property is just telling you, okay, what background color you want. Some people, I think it comes by default black, so I think it's also fine. So I'll cancel, and I already have some templates which I can say I would use. I would go for the 400 by 400. So I would start from gallery. So gallery takes you back to that view which you already saw. So I'll go back into the artwork. There's a wrench here, and this wrench is important for lots of things. Here you can add, for example, if you need to add a photo, you can add a photo here. If you have questions eventually, just hit me up, write your comments below, and I can send you links which you can learn actual details, or how to really go into in depth of what this could do. But here, what I just want to do is to get you drawing as soon as possible. Like with the brush, then you can select whatever you want, and you just take let's say this color here, which is like a brown. The color wheel can be any way you want it. I mean, you can make it a circle, the disc, you can make it the classic. I like the classic because it gives you the opportunity to really change your saturation, hue, and the blacks and the lights, really easier than if you had it like this, because this is just thinking about it and you're just using your intuition to select where the color should be. So here you can actually just go through and have all of this adjusted as you want. Harmony is like also in this manner. Here you can select what kind of colors which you will be working with. As you lighten it, it shows you the actual color. And you have also value here. It gives you the chance to actually put in details about what you would want to have. I mean, if you have a specific, let's say you want to really go precise on your values here, you can just change it accordingly. And last but not least, this is where you have your color palette. It shows you different color palettes which you already saved. And also from this point, you could even get a color palette from a picture. You could take a photo, for example. I could just say, okay, take this photo, and it gives me all the palettes from that photo. Okay, so this is a really good thing to learn, but for the purpose of this video, I'm going to keep it quite simple. I would start with a sketch. Let's do it a little bit quick. The sketch is not part of the tutorial.
Baby girl, you're so fine, I can't get you off my mind. Ooh girl, nah nah, ooh girl, nah nah. Baby girl, don't need to flex, dance to the rhythm and you do all the rest. Ooh girl, nah nah, ooh.
So what I just did was to do a sketch without making any erasing or all that. So it's just something really simple. So you could see it much better. Let me change the background color, so you can come here, change your background color depending on what you want. So if I could change it in this way, okay. So that's my background color. And here, this sketch, I'm going to clean it up. So how do I do it? I just select an extra layer. I take this one, I just keep my pen on it, and it selects it, and I move it on top of the rest. I can come here, reduce the opacity, so that I do not have to deal with it while making the actual line art. So now I'm going to go for the line art, and I'm going to go for really bold lines. So let's go with a darker color here. And now, one thing for you to learn about this kind of drawings, you could actually make your pen, you could work on your pen to make it, have different properties. So for example, if I do not want my pen to wobble a lot, even if my hands shake, I can increase the amount of the streamline here, okay? So what it does is that it makes the flow much easier, and if I take it back, then it depends on how steady my hand is. You can adjust the pressure, you can adjust your stabilization. It makes it even much smoother. I mean, all these are details which you can play with. So you can also create your own brushes in Procreate with this brush studio. So it's one tool you should also make an extra effort to learn about. So I said done, and now I'm just going to draw. I'm going to increase. So here you just increase, and I'll start my sketch of more or less my lines. So I always think it's best to take things slow, especially when you're at this stage. I don't think you should be too quick. Okay, take things slow. I mean, art should be some form of therapy. Okay, therapy shouldn't be rushed. So for my outlines, I'm going to go really thick. I'm going to keep that same outline. Now let me show you something quite interesting. So I have different points. If you come to this part, I have different points here which are already saved. So for example, if I want the 4% to be for the inner details, I can already, let's say if I take it out, I can already add it here. So it gives me already like a mark which I can refer to again. So it's like a memory, so I can always go back and check exactly what size I used to make maybe the details for the inside of the face. So for the inside of the face, I'm using that 4%. And it helps also to zoom. For this demonstration purposes, I'm not going to aim for really realistic kind of art. Clean it up. Now, this is important. When you push with 2 fingers like this, these are gestures that you should learn about. These gestures actually undo whatsoever you've done. You can also do that here, but this is quite intuitive. Everyone who uses Procreate will always do this, even when they find themselves on the traditional art they're trying to undo, but it doesn't work in traditional art. So I would, let's say maybe I should increase this to here 7%, so it's locked there. So having steady lines is something you should work on. I mean, Procreate gives you a chance to create this stabilization, but I think if you're going to enjoy your art more, these are some basic things that you should learn. It makes you, not just rely on the application for everything. There's an easier way to do this, by the way, and I'll show it to you. Let's say, for example, I don't want to worry myself, about all of this, to check if it's symmetrical. I will show you a trick. You just come here. So I want every part of the face to be symmetrical. I think I would use this format to make it easier for myself. So let's clear everything. And I want it to be a really symmetrical face here. So what I will do is that I will come here and I will say drawing guide, edit drawing guide, and I will say symmetry. And you have options for symmetry. So you have the vertical, which means it's like this. So anything you draw on this side, I mean, anything you draw on this side of your art would come on this side of your art automatically with same perfect symmetry. If you make it horizontal, anything you draw on the top side becomes the same, I mean, comes out same on the other side of this line. You know, also you could play with this line, you could, you know, move it up and down, but for this purposes, I'm not going to move it. Now, then I say for this, I'll just say vertical. Well, let's try with the vertical and say done. Okay, done. Now, what is important here is that you should make sure that the layer has drawing assist selected. It's quite important. So with drawing assist selected, I could deselect and select it back. So with it selected, I can just come here with my pen and do like this. You see, perfect symmetry on both sides. And I can also do this. Okay, symmetry on both sides. So it assumes that you want a perfectly symmetrical, but for this hair, for example, for the hair here, I'm going to make it not, I won't want it to be symmetrical. I want it to show a little bit of variety. But for the eyes, for example, let's look at the eyes. The eyes can be symmetrical. Now look at what I'm doing. I didn't take off my pen. When you draw a circle and you keep your pen on it, or on the screen, it helps you to create a very, let's say, perfect shape. Either you want a circle or you want an ellipse. For example, this is an ellipse. I can play with it however I want, you know, with these lines, but it's fine. I like it like this. Also, I can come here and say, okay, good. Symmetrical, but I think it's a little bit slanted in my opinion. So let me just take it this way. Okay. So there are some parts that you can't make symmetrical. For example, I want the mouth to go this way. I don't want it to just be a straight line. I want it to show a little bit of character. But for the beard, I can make it symmetrical and go like this, for example. And you see, when I keep my pen on it, it gives me, smoothens out the shape, and that's fine. I'm just going to create my hair here, okay, and do. Okay, you see, for example, doesn't work so well for me here, but let's see. So my sketch is getting in my way, but you can modify as you see fit, okay? And speed this up. Speed this up. Okay. So you see it's a little bit skewed because the actual sketch is, you know, completely different from having a really symmetrical. I mean, your sketch, you know, is definitely not symmetrical. But when you make your inking, you can make it symmetrical as you want, okay? Okay. Okay. Good. What else can I make symmetrical? Let's make the shirt symmetrical. Great. Okay. So you can actually move your drawing, zoom in as much as you want, zoom out as much as you want. Okay, so now I want to create without the symmetry. I'm just going to click here, and then the drawing assist is out, so I can come here and do what I want. You notice that it's not showing on the other side, yeah? Okay. And one thing I always say, use the opportunity to build your muscles. Don't overuse this, because we never know when we grow, with our art. Maybe tomorrow we would have to do more of traditional. Depends on who commissions you. He could say, okay, I like your style, but I would like it in a really traditional way. And then because you build a workflow, which is really depending on all of these crutches which the app gives to you, then you're going to almost be learning everything from scratch. Okay, so it's good to sometimes have your wits about you when it comes to really honing in on the skills of doing art without the crutches of digital tools. Okay, so great. I'm going to take away my sketch, and then I have this line art. So the next thing I want to do, I want to fill in the colors. I remember I already had a palette here which came from a picture, so I can use it to, let's say, fill a background color. So I just take a layer, put it beneath the sketch, and throw in that. So what it does is that you just select an area, or just select a layer, and just throw in your color. Like, just pick it and throw it in. It just gives you the color. Now the next point is to color in the hair. How will I do this? I'm going to put a separate layer under, and I'm going to take this tool, which is like an S, but actually helps you do your selection. And I'm going to use the freehand for this purpose. There are other ones, but freehand is really useful here because I don't have like really symmetrical shapes, especially for hairs, for eyes and all of that. So let me go with the freehand. Now I'm selecting where I want to color. Doesn't have to be perfect. You can always go around and walk it like this, like that. Doesn't have to be perfect. The idea is just to make sure you feel. Okay, so now I've selected that. I'm going to select a color. I can go with this brown. Just fill that. Okay, so now I filled my brown. For the face, I think I should go for a lighter brown. Say something like this. So I put it on another layer, but eventually I'll bring them all together. So let me show you that. On this layer 5, which is the face, I can just put one layer and say clipping marks. What does the marks do? It gives you the chance to be able to paint only within that particular selection. Okay, so for example, I'm painting like this, but you see it's only showing up inside this face. Okay, make your shadows and all of that. So let's just bring it all together here. So these are what we call the flats. So I'm going to just pinch and, like this. You see, pinch it, bring it together. Pinch it, bring it together, so it collapses or it merges. Pinch, bring it together, so it merges, right? And now I have my flats. The next is I want to just have a clipping marks. This is really simplistic way of going about it. I'm going to select a really dark color, set that layer to multiply, but this is really, really, really basic. I mean, I don't want, because of it's a YouTube video, I don't want to make it complex. Here, what I'm going to do, I'm going to select the point where the light is coming from. So if I say it's coming from this side, then the shadow should be on this other side. So let's put down some shadow shapes. All right, so I'm using a black here, but it's not necessary to use a black, just use a dark color. What is the benefit? But before I show you the benefit of that, let me just fill in all the shadow shapes. Okay, I'll do that, make a time lapse. this layer which is on multiply, and I just kick it back a little. And yeah, that's a pseudo shadow which you can use. So what I just do for the lights is that I just put same clipping mask, and I go for the layer itself to add. Okay, some people use color dodge, but I prefer add. And then I select one, just a lighter color. Then I start playing with it. It might look a little bit bright now, but don't worry, we will reduce the opacity just like we did for the multiply layer or for the shadow layer. You want, take it down as you want. And also you can play a little bit by taking out those extraneous parts which do not fit. So guys, thank you for staying up until this part of the video, and thank you for joining, learning about Procreate. I mean, it's a really great app if you think about it. It's quite easy, the entry level, the barrier to entry is quite low. So I think it's something you should try out. If this has been great for you, please hit that like button, share this video, or subscribe or subscribe. I mean, it's fine. If you do all of them, this is just a way to help the algorithm to find my videos and recommend them to other people who are interested in things like this. So thank you very much for being part of this video, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.